Welcome back to ugcnet. In this video, we'll be going through the error handler in the compiler. We know that making an error is common, right? We all are humans, we all will do mistakes. Similarly, while writing a program also, there may be many errors in that program. So we have to find those errors and we have to correct it. Then only we can execute or run that program. So in each phase of a compiler, the compiler may encounter some errors. So what the compiler will do? The compiler should take some strategies to recover from that error. Then only the compilation process can further proceed. And the main important thing is that the error handling should not affect the processing time of the system. Okay. So the error handler can be considered as error detection. That is, we have to detect where the error is, plus error report. That is, once we detect an error, we have to report it to the user, plus error recovery. That means we have to take some actions to recover from that error. So basically there are two types of errors. One is the compile time error and the second one is the runtime error. That means suppose we are having a C program and we are compiling it. And after compiling it, an error message is displayed. All the errors reported in that message will be the compile time errors. That is the errors that we detect while compiling or during compilation process. And the second category is the runtime errors. That means during runtime or during the execution of the program, we encounter some errors. For example, suppose we input some wrong values, it can cause some errors. It can be considered as runtime error. Okay. So here in compiler design, we will be dealing with the compile time errors only. These compile time errors can be characterized into four types. First one is the lexical errors. Second one is the syntactical errors. Third one is the semantical errors. And finally, the fourth one is the logical errors. So this lexical errors means, for example, misspelled keywords, or it can be some misspelled identifiers, etc. For instance, we can consider int, the keyword int. Instead of writing int, I wrote INTT. Here, this is a misspelled keyword. So, this can be considered as a lexical error. Similarly, if I write the term float as FLAOT. So, here the letters A and O are transposed. So, this can be also considered as a misspelled keyword. Right? So, these are the examples of lexical errors. The second type of error is syntactical error or the syntax errors. Here, we are dealing with the syntax of the program. That means, for example, suppose there is a for loop for I is equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. This is a for loop. You know that this is the syntax of a for loop, right? So here, instead of writing semicolon, I put simply comma. So that is a syntax error. Instead of writing semicolon, I have put a comma. So that is an error in its syntax. It can be considered as a syntax error. Okay. Now, the third type is a semantic error. In case of semantical errors, we are dealing with the meaning of the program. We have already seen that in case of semantical analysis, the important task is to check the type. Type checking is done, right? So, here if we find that an operator is done over incompatible operands. For example, we are doing an addition over one integer and a character. So, we cannot perform addition on a character and an integer, right? So, that is an incompatible addition. So, that error is considered as a semantic error. We are actually checking for the meaning of it. Mainly the type compatibility is considered here. Okay, so that is a semantical error. And finally, the fourth one is logical errors. For example, we can say infinite loops. That means there is no lexical or syntax or semantical errors, but the error is the logic of the program. For example, let's consider a while loop. While I less than 5. Suppose this is our program. Means initially the value of I is 1. Until the value becomes greater than 5, we will print the value of I. Okay. So that's our code. Suppose we forgot to write this statement. Okay. Now when we compile this, it will not show any syntax error. It will not show any semantic or lexical errors. So no errors will be shown. But what the problem is, this loop will work infinitely. Because there is nothing to change the value of I. When we run this loop for the first time, the value of I will be 1 and it will print the value I as 1. And the next time when the loop executes for the second time, then also the value of I is 1 itself. We are not changing the value of I. The value of I remains 1 all the time. Thus, this loop will execute for infinite number of times. So, that's an example of a logical error. So, these are the 4 types of errors that we have to handle during the compilation process. And the task of an error handler is to detect the error as well as to report that error to the users. And it also performs some recovery actions or recovery strategies to recover from those errors. So, that's all about error handler. Hope you all understood it very well. Thank you.